everybody, and welcome to another episode of First and Last. My name is Josh, and with me I have Joe.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy.
What's up, dogs?
Nothing much.
Pasta dogs.
Friends of the pasta variety.
Yeah.
And the lava variety.
Yeah.
Being Joe. Lava Joe.
Pasta pets.
I want to start off completely unrelated to anything we're going to talk about tonight, potentially. I was putting on my socks and pants this morning.
Okay,
and
visualizing.
I was wondering, what order do you do that?
Socks are the very last thing I put on.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you put your pants on before you put your socks on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a socks guy.
Yeah, I put socks on before I put pants on.
Hmm.
If I'm wearing like shorts, it could be either way. But I feel like long socks in the wintertime is where we live.
Yeah, I think maybe that's maybe a qualifier is that like it's winter, so I'm wearing like longer socks.
Yeah,
and the pants just kind of like
No,
pull them up.
I don't really have longer socks, so it doesn't really matter.
all
That's
ankle
fair.
socks all the time.
Yeah,
He's an ankle
all the
guy.
time.
He's sockless. Sockless Joe.
Yep. This is how my feet look.
Cold ankle Joe. Really?
Cold ankle Joe.
So yeah, I do what I want.
All right, cool. Well, moving on. This is First and Last.
So much.
I thought that was gonna be an ad for Bombas or something. Like, did we get sponsorship?
Oh, we got
No.
a
Are
sponsor.
Bombas like
Nope.
a super hip sock?
Yeah, man. They
Okay.
like grip your feet and stuff.
Okay.
I asked for them for
Oh,
Christmas.
What other socks do? What do
Did
you
you
mean they
get
grip your
I didn't
feet?
get 'em. What?
What other socks do?
No, they have like an elastic around like the middle part of your foot, so they like really grip your foot.
Who needs that?
It's like arch support.
Hipsters, man.
And
Flat-footed.
hipsters.
Hipsters got terrible
Flatfoot
arches.
Joe.
People who want to be held.
Oh yeah, sure. It's a
Incels.
sensory thing.
The number one sock for incels, Bombas.
I don't know what that means.
Infidels? What do you say?
Yeah,
Infidels.
Infidels.
Infidels and incels.
Alright.
Excel.
XLs.
Cool.
Microsoft incels?
Oh God.
Dr. Scholl's incels.
I think it was
got
Mitch
back to feet
Hedberg.
stuff.
Mitch Hedberg that one of his things was like, he's like, Dr. Scholl's. I don't know if I needed like a doctor to tell me that standing on cushy things was comfortable. I would have taken that advice from a Mr. Scholl.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
It's pretty good. Don't want to steal no
Saw that on
bits.
Conan.
Oh yeah, because they released that Conan thing. Is that where I
Yeah.
saw it?
Yeah,
That was
so
cool.
it's-
Yeah,
Cool.
He was funny.
Speaking of TV,
how does this podcast work, Joe?
we take a TV show and watch only the first and only the last episode, and nothing in between. That's it.
Yes.
No movies, no TV specials, no reunions.
Which is a bummer because we missed those like two super good X-Files movies
Mm-hmm.
about 100 episodes
Ooh.
ago.
Yeah.
True.
And that's how we learn about TV shows we've never seen.
Remember, the truth is out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And here in this podcast, we're redoing X-Files today. No, I'm just kidding. No, I picked a show, and I'm funny after how long we've been doing this. I'm very surprised we haven't done it yet. And I'm very surprised specifically that Joe hasn't picked it yet. And so I dedicate this night to you, Joe.
Wow, it's my night.
Is this Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, no.
Oh, shit.
That'd be great.
You're dedicating stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So, think about that when you guys pick a TV show in the future, guys.
Yeah, you owe me.
That you owe me. This isn't just the kindness of my heart. I picked Mr. Bean.
Oh.
Yeah, see, look at you perked
Oh,
right up.
baby.
Nice. Okay.
He perked right up.
I think so. First of all, I love Mr. Bean. I think I hadn't thought to pick it because I'm not sure that it's sequential.
Sure.
But now that I think about it, I'm sure like there's something
Some
beginning.
carryover.
Well, not even carryover, but I'm sure there's something like firsty about the first episode, and I'm sure there's something lasty about the last episode.
Okay.
Because
Probably
it's
a wedding.
British, so they had to know that like this is the end. This is the end of Bean. I wouldn't be surprised if they kill him, I guess.
Oh, God.
Wow. Or Tom Hanks.
Mr. Bean gets gunned down and gets drafted.
Interesting.
The drafting.
It's a very serious Bean
I
episode.
don't know that I've actually ever seen an actual show.
But you're like
this.
aware of Mr. Bean?
Yeah, everybody knows Rowan Atkinson. He's a
Mhm.
he's a national treasure.
He's
whoever's nation he's in.
Whatever soil he's standing on, he's the treasure of that nation. I think is.
With Prince Harry stepping out, he's gonna step right in and become the
Yeah.
new Prince of Wales.
Yeah. Someone's got to
think
do
you'd
it.
be hard pressed to find someone to argue about that.
But he's got to play Mr. Bean. He can't be Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah, no, Mr. Bean is gonna be.
He's got to be doing a bit the whole time.
Do you want to be royalty? Mr.
Yeah, sure.
Bean, does Mr. Bean want to be royalty?
This is great. I'm excited for this podcast now. I feel like I have a lot of bean takes.
Hot bean takes?
Yeah, hot bean.
Welcome to Hot Bean Corner, starring
Action.
Joe.
Get some bean theories.
Well,
Ooh,
okay. Well, quick little thing that's going on. Number one, it went 15 episodes,
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
so not
Guess
too
I
long.
assumed a lot more than that.
Is it broken up into multiple series?
No, it's so we're gonna watch it on Hulu, and it's just broken up into like series 1 essentially.
Series for you
But-
Americans out there is season in French.
But it's kind
Or
of
what?
but it's kind of interesting because according to Wikipedia, so take that with a grain of salt. But original air date for episode 1 was January 1st, 1990. It kind of sounds like they didn't know what day, so they just picked January 1st or something.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right, does it?
And then it goes 15 episodes, and the last episode is said December 15th, 1995.
Okay, so they're kind of split up.
Yeah, we're going to have to I think this is correct, but we'll have to figure it out because I think on Hulu it says a different title for the last episode than it says on here.
Okay,
We'll cross that path when we get there.
like the death of Mr. Bean.
Yeah, no, it's called The Death of Mr. Bean. But it still has 15 whole episodes. Like they're so
Okay.
we'll see. But
So
the
maybe
first,
they changed the title for American audiences or something.
yeah, maybe. But the first episode just called Mr. Bean.
Okay,
Nice.
Yeah,
the Beanster.
I mean,
Senor Bean.
I kind of assume that this first episode is essentially the first appearance of the Bean.
Ever?
I feel like I've read the Wikipedia on Mr. Bean before, and he like showed up in some other show. You literally have the Wikipedia up
I
right
feel like
now.
the character probably existed.
Yeah, or like it was in some sort of sketch.
Yeah.
While you're looking for it,
Mhm.
if you haven't seen Mr. Bean, essentially what you need to know is there's this British comedian named Rowan Atkinson who plays this Mr. Bean character who's mostly mute. He just makes kind of weird sounds and gets into weird situations and hilariously does some shit.
Yeah. Oh gosh. He's got kind of a slapstick, kind of live action Magoo thing going on, and but the bits are just amazing.
Yeah, most of the bits or like each episode will have a couple like 10-minute sequences, and they're just like Mr. Bean goes to the dentist or Mr. Bean goes to the grocery store.
It's
like,
almost
like a
kind of
thing.
like
Ridiculousness ensues.
I don't maybe you get this connection I'm gonna do, maybe not, but it's almost kind of like Doug, where like the first episodes of Doug kind of have like it was 2 parts.
Yeah,
I think it was 2 separate things. So some of Mr. Bean's episodes are kind of like he does a thing, and then it kind of like some of it just transfers off to he's just doing something else.
Okay.
He's just being Mr. Bean.
yeah, living his
okay.
life.
So that could make sense then. Why the finale would be shorter because maybe it's just one big section instead of 2. When we get there,
We'll see. One of Mr.
Series.
Bean's earliest appearances occurred at the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, in 1987. So
At a festival?
apparently,
he was just there and
he was developed
just goofing.
He was developed by Rowan Atkinson, was studying for his master's degree in electrical engineering at the Queen's College, Oxford. A sketch featuring Bean was shown at the Edinburgh Fringe in the early 1980s. So, he also played another character called Robert Box, who's also who appeared in a 1979 ITV sitcom Canned Laughter. So, variations of this character,
Variations of
were kind
Bean.
of thrown around the world.
Mm-hmm.
England and Canada.
Yeah.
Basically anywhere the Queen ruled.
Other the
still.
Queen. which is a lot more places than that.
And then beyond this, I think there's 2 Mr. Bean movies.
Yes. I'm pretty sure. I think one's a holiday movie.
Yeah, one's called Bean, and then the other one is like Mr. Bean on Holiday or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But I've seen
Mr.
the first
Bean's
movie,
Christmas
Bean.
Vacation.
Yeah, I've seen the first movie Bean, and it's mostly bits from the show that are just like translated for a movie for an American
like
audience.
a new audience, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't follow up with the second Mr. Bean movie.
Yeah, Bean. Yeah, Mr. Bean's Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen that one.
Hmm.
Those are both in 2000. Oh wait, one was in 1997,
Beans.
and then the next one, Mr. Bean's Holiday, was in 2007.
Okay.
So he took a 10-year break
From Beanin'.
from
Yeah,
beaning.
what was he doing?
For being.
What do you do if you don't bean?
Rowan Atkinson, man of many talents.
Yeah, when was that? When was his spy James Bond spoof movie? Do you know what I'm talking about?
It was like Johnny Nobody or something like that.
Johnny English.
Johnny English. Yep. He's a spy.
I'll check. Yeah. I'm gonna spend some time on IMDb with Rowan Atkinson. So.
For Americans, Rowan Atkinson was Mr. Bean, Johnny English, and like a priest in wasn't he like a priest in Notting Hill or something?
He's had some cameos in some American movies for sure.
I mean,
you'd recognize him.
Yeah, maybe one, The Lion King.
Oh yeah, he was Zazu.
He was Zazu
in the original.
Yeah,
the original voice.
There's no
holy crap.
Yeah, the original Lion King, the only real Lion King.
I don't think I knew
Lion
that.
King we care
the only
about.
Lion King.
There's only one because the one that just came out is quote unquote a live action.
So that's what Rowan
Quote
Atkinson's voice sounds like. It sounds like Zazu.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You wouldn't know that if you just are a Bean fan. Fan of the Bean.
Man.
There's some Bean shorts.
yeah. I bet there's a bunch of like random.
There's a Johnny English sequel that came out 2 years ago.
That's his new thing.
That's wild.
Spoofing Bond.
Huh.
What happens in this first episode before we dive into it? What's like the I guess the MacGuffin or like the thing that Bean's trying to attempt? Because I feel like he's always the one I always think about is it like the Christmas or is it a Thanksgiving one where he's trying to make a turkey?
Yeah.
And he gets the turkey stuck on his head somehow.
Yeah.
And his like girlfriend's there. Also, her name's Irma Gob.
Irma Gob.
Irma Gob. That's her name.
Are you talking about the Friends episode? What is this?
No.
No,
Talking about
man,
Mr. Bean?
came
Mr.
first,
Bean did
man.
it first.
Bean did it first.
Yeah. Joey.
There's nothing
Angry.
original
I'm
in.
just burning with anger right now.
So that's like the one, but I don't think that's the first episode. I don't know what episode that is.
Yeah.
I feel like he's like walking around town. What is that?
Make my way
Way downtown.
He's playing a piano and
He's
like riding on the
making
back
his
of a
way
flatbed truck.
Yeah. Mr. Bean did it first, Michelle Branch.
Vanessa Carlton.
Damn it.
I love just the whisper of that.
That's not neither one of it's not important anyway. But I think he's shopping
Okay.
and he wants to buy something and he like doesn't have money. So then for the next 5 minutes he tries to like pilfer it in a very comical way.
Pilfer. What's pilfer mean?
Steal.
Like it's just a steal. Mr. Bean steals. Okay.
I bet he's like
for sure
he's
he
like a
steals.
lovable goof and he doesn't necessarily like
He doesn't steal. He shoplifts. I feel like that's different.
yeah. He's not like stealing TVs.
Like an
He's
old
stealing
person
knickknacks.
does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I don't want to guess what the first episode is about because I feel like I know all the bits pretty well that like I'll just be guessing. Well, is it the one where he's at the laundromat or is it the one where he's at the pool?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said like dentist, and that just made me think of like the Mr. Show, David Cross. He's got like a whole dentist bit. I feel like, and then I was thinking Mr. Show is it's basically just Mr. Bean, only he talks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. Are we gonna hear any audible? Because Mr. Bean says words sometimes, like mutters them. So
He's got like a guttural.
is he gonna say words in
nasal.
this episode?
I bet he says Bean.
Oh, Bean.
Like someone asks his name and he says Bean weird.
Okay.
I love that. Yeah, what's the over and under on actual audible words?
Like decipherable words?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think we're going to hear like a...
Yeah,
like a
words
little,
that we can actually pick out.
I mean, under 5. I mean, is that even too high of a number?
Yeah, that might be too high.
Spoken by Mr. Bean.
I'll take it. It's a pilot. Maybe he gets more guttural as we go.
All right, so you're going
Hoping
over
for 6.
You'll go over 5. All right, I'll take the under.
I think I'm mostly excited to hear the theme song. It's got a banger of a theme song.
Ooh.
Isn't it that choir?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a choir that sings it. It's pretty cool.
Like a Rolling Stones vibe.
Let's just do it. Let's get into Mr. Bean. Let's make Joe happy, and we'll come back and we'll hear some Bean facts.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for Bean facts with Joe.
Bean theories.
All right, we'll see you after the first episode of Mr. Bean, called Mr. Bean. And we're back. We're done with the first episode of Mr. Bean, called Mr. Bean.
We did it.
Mr. Bean.
We did the bean.
It delivered.
It was
Really
funny,
did.
They presented a man named Mr. Bean.
and it happened. You got to write up for us, GM?
I do.
Do it.
Okay. Mr. Bean attends a math exam during which he tries to copy from a student under the nose of the invigilator. Invigilator? Is that just a fancy word for
Invigilator?
exam?
I'd say
Invigilator?
invigilator.
Invigilator.
Some British
That's a
thing,
te-
I'm
okay.
assuming.
He surreptitiously changes into his swimming trunks so as not to be noticed by someone nearby.
That's a different scene, but we'll go.
Different side. Yeah, sorry. These are all like there's semicolons in between all these. And then the next one is he struggles to stay awake during a church service, much to the annoyance of the man sitting next to him, Mr. Sprout.
Yeah, that guy had a name apparently, and his name was Mr. Sprout.
Ooh. Okay.
So there's that. So it was divided up into 2 parts. The first part essentially had like 2 scenes totally separated, and then the last part was him at the church service.
Yeah.
So
it was 3 like fully differently shot things, but it was listed as part 1 and part 2.
Yeah. The first part was him trying to take a test, he was taking a math test.
Yeah, apparently.
For whatever reason.
Like you do.
I mean, sure. He was trying to take, so he started trying to take the math test, and he didn't know anything that was on it. So he was trying to cheat to the guy next to him.
It's pretty silly for a grown man to do.
And I think my favorite part about that was right before the test is when the guy pulled out a pen and put it on the table, and Mr. Bean like pulled his pen out, but then pulled another pen out, and then just kept pulling more pens out.
And like staring
that
down the guy.
That guy started it, in all fairness.
Until you thought he was done pulling pens out, and then he went to the other pocket of his coat and pulled out just a handful of pens.
Gosh.
And then he pulled out a clock and like a little cop
and some
figurine
toys.
and the Pink Panther,
Pink Panther with his tail sticking between his legs.
as if to suggest he had a large phallic penis.
A phallic penis.
Yeah, maybe a
Pink
little
Panther penis.
Pink Panther penis.
It was right there.
Picked a pack of Pink Panther penises.
Yep, that happened.
So that was good. And Mr. Bean talked a lot at one
In
point.
that first episode,
A
the
whole
first bit
ton.
with the
Right
test.
away.
Right at the beginning.
He was like, "Oh, I don't know. I thought this was trigonometry."
Yeah, full sentences, full like 4-syllable words like trigonometry.
Yeah. And then at the end of that one, the invigilator, the invigorator or whatever it's called, the guy leading the class was like, "All right, those of you taking the calculus test," which is what Mr. Bean was trying to like do the whole time and didn't know the answers and cheat, was like, "Put them over here." And those taking the trigonometry on the white paper, and he was freaked out.
Yeah, because he was supposed to take the trig test.
So he had like less than 2 minutes to try to write down
It was just
the entire test.
just watching that like 8-minute little piece was like a master class in a physical comedy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So good.
Yep. Excellent.
So yeah, Mr. Bean struggles through a test. What was the next one? He
He goes down to the beach.
Being at the beach.
But he like basically it's because the beach is at the bottom of just like a massive staircase. So then he's like looking around and nobody's there.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a guy sitting like kind of behind him in his blind spot who's already there.
Yeah.
Mr. Bean didn't see him, and he like takes out his like Speedo,
Uh-huh.
and he was like about to change, and he notices him,
Mm-hmm.
freaks out, and then he quite craftily puts his swimsuit on over his pants
Because he's trying to
and
change
gets his
without being
pants off.
immodest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not. Well, he's not. Yeah, he's trying not to whip his bean out.
Oh,
His
Okay.
Mr. Bean.
His Frank and beans, if you will.
sure.
And then he manages to do that.
It's banger and beans.
Oh yeah.
Let's be correct here.
And then
So the
and
guy
then-
turns out to be blind.
and the guy
And
turns
then the guy turns out to be blind.
The guy's
Yeah,
blind.
so he didn't
blind the whole
see
time.
anything.
I love like every time it always just turns like at the end of most of these it turns out that it was like Mr. Bean,
Didn't
Yeah.
have to do all that.
you did all that for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last one, and the last one was church.
Church.
He goes to church, and then like three things happen. One, he like sneezes, and apparently he's got a lot of snotty.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to
And he
get
doesn't have
out.
like his handkerchief, so he wipes it on the inside of his coat pocket.
Gross.
It's gross.
Yeah.
And then he
Just
starts.
blows.
Yeah.
Full on blows into it.
Then he starts falling asleep,
Mm-hmm.
and then like ends up on the ground
Yeah.
as he falls asleep. It's impressive.
He ends up in like a yoga position.
Yeah.
At the end.
And then he at the last part he wants to eat a candy.
Yeah.
And just like the wrapper, the guy next to him, apparently named
Yeah.
Mr. Sprout,
Yeah.
was annoyed the whole time.
Yeah.
we
Because
have
he's
our
trying
first
to
other
not
character.
be seen eating candy at church. That's a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to he's trying to like I don't know, not show like he might be enjoying
Yeah.
himself a little bit while at church.
My favorite part of that whole bit is that the guy, Mr. Sprout, is so annoyed with him that he will no longer let him like look at his hymnal book.
Oh yeah.
So he's trying to he's faking that he knows the words until Hallelujah comes, and then he just sings Hallelujah super loudly, and then just continues to fake the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good. And then right at the end when he's about to because he like loses the candy in his shirt and pants for a while.
Uh-huh.
And then
Yeah.
like on the inside of his clothes. And then he finally gets it back and he's about to eat it. And then Mr. Sprout looks and he shoves it into his pocket, but it was the pocket where he had the snot into it.
Yeah.
The snot box.
And then the
ruined
last
that
shot
candy.
is just him just with
realizing what he
just
did.
crap. Like this face of sadness. It was
That's good
great.
stuff.
All three
Yeah.
skits were perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I've-
in between, when he's driving through stuff, he's like having encounters with this three-wheeled car
Yeah.
that is
Such a
constantly
weird
getting
car.
in his way.
Constantly driving slowly.
Yeah, I
don't
can't
think it's
imagine why
that
they make cars
weird.
like that.
It's like a tuk-tuk, you know? Like those three-wheeled little taxis that other countries have.
Right.
Tuk-tuk.
Tuk-tuk.
Is it that much more expensive to just make an axle and give it another wheel?
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is.
I mean, it's probably, weight. It's a tiny little car, tiny little engine.
It just
more
like
gas
seems
efficient.
like just turning is impossible in it.
I don't know, man.
I just figured it was meant to like also traverse lakes and stuff.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Little duck
totally.
boat.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah, it's a duck boat.
Little duck car boat. Yeah, those are excellent. The little segues with the car. The last one is when he's pulling into the church parking lot, he backs into a spot and you can't see that the little car's there, and he totally just knocks it right out into the street.
He almost every time he interacts with that tri-wheel car,
Uh-huh.
it's almost as if Mr. Bean can't even see it. Like for
Yeah, it
some
just
reason,
Yeah.
register.
he just can't see the car because he runs him off the road in the first one,
Uh-huh.
and he just
Yeah.
flies right by him the second time,
Mhm.
and then he just rams into a parked car and moves it out of the way in the third time.
Mhm.
It's like, huh. And then he looked at it when he got out, you're parked in a weird spot. He looked at the
You
car
saw it afterwards, yeah.
he hit and pushed out of the way.
I feel like he realized that he did that because then he did his being walk faster, away, his little nervous walk. He did that at the very end too, when I wasn't quite exactly sure what happened in that last segue. He saw the blue car, and then did he just crash?
It
Did he
looked like
cause
he
someone
crashed
else to
into a
crash?
dead end
Okay.
at the credits. is what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
because he was trying to avoid the other car, I think, or something.
Okay.
So he finally saw the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the very first one, he was behind the car and he was just pissed at it because it was going so slowly.
Yeah.
And then by passing him, then like
I don't know
drove
if
him
it was
off and
going
tipped
slowly
over.
because it seems like Mr. Bean was hauling ass every time he was in his car.
Yeah, that's probably
He's late
true.
to the test.
Oh yeah, I suppose he was. I suppose he was. Mr. Bean is literally, I think, the definition of like a man-child, though.
Yeah. Let's talk about this Bean character.
Let's get into this
Let's
Joe
talk about
show.
Bean. Let's talk about Beans. Welcome to Joe's Hot Bean Takes.
So yeah, the common interpretation of Mr. Bean is that he's a man-child, right?
He's got a thesis written down.
Got arrows, things not fully written in.
Joe picked out a journal that I think he brought. It's just entitled "I Love Bean" on it. That's what it says.
The Pepe Sylvia at some points of this. Yeah. So the common interpretation is that he's a child in a man's body. He's just kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? He's not stupid, but there's a bit of like childlike wonder, and the way that he goes about things are kind of like they're so ridiculous that it's kind of like it's a kid doing this thing, like where he's like trying to cheat on the test.
Yeah,
the way that he's cheating is like kind of cartoonishly silly things.
I was thinking the whole time, I was like, the dude in charge is just watching Mr. Bean like cheat openly.
Yeah. Just shaking his head at him.
Yeah. So, but I have I have a couple like issues with just seeing him as just a child, because like one, he's not stupid, right? He knows, like,
yeah, he's clever.
He's very clever. There's a lot of ingenuity in like the things that he does to try to cheat or to try to change clothes at the beach. Like that's not necessarily.
He got those pants off.
Yeah, that's not necessarily kid stuff.
I know there's like one episode where he's like, oh wait, no, I read this today because I just had like the one where he puts the chicken on his head or the turkey on his head or whatever.
Yeah.
There's like a deleted scene that like never aired where he like is trying to win. It's like a guess the weight of the turkey and you can win it. And he like puts like, he like gets a scale and he like weighs himself and then he like weighs like the table and the chicken with him on or something like that. Weird. And then he like he has a calculator.
Yeah, he does some sort of deduction.
And he does like math and then he guesses it within like 3 decimal points or something like that. And the lady's like crazy impressed with him. And then like the episode that I've seen is him like trying to make, but he gets it stuck in his head. So like, but there's a whole part before that apparently that was like didn't air
social
like
things.
So he's clearly very smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is that he misses social cues. But also on top of that, like it's like he has a sense of like one-upsmanship, where he can't help but like try to pull out more pens than the other guy, or like
he like always wants to have in a weird, he wants, for someone who doesn't really talk, he always wants like the last word.
Yeah. And he has like a sense of pride that he doesn't want to like shatter. Like he doesn't want to get caught changing at the beach, or like he doesn't want to
He's
get caught
modest.
cheating.
At least he's modest.
Yeah, like there's things like that like I don't think are necessarily like kid things, that like he has this like sense of like pride or like afraid of being shamed that often gets him in trouble. So the alternate theory for Mr. Bean is in that intro. It opens up with like,
yeah, we didn't talk about this.
Yeah, it opens up like a dark street, and then a beam of light opens up, and then he like drops from the sky. Yeah. And then they sing this, choir theme song, which it's sung in Latin, but the Latin translation to English is essentially, "Behold a man who is a bean."
No way.
Yeah, and then at the end it's "Farewell, man who is a bean." But like there's like a conspiracy theory, or maybe not even a conspiracy theory, but the theory is that he's essentially an alien.
Okay, yeah,
he's being dropped from the sky, and so that's why he's smart and can kind of like engineer things, but he just doesn't understand social cues.
That makes me feel really good about one of my predictions.
Yeah. And that's why he kind of has like a higher sense of like his emotional, the emotions that he feels are somewhat more complex, like pride and like one-upsmanship and being self-centered, but he just doesn't have like the normal social cues that the rest of us humans have who have been living on this earth.
Right. He hasn't picked him up yet.
Yeah.
Maybe that's his mission.
Regarding the opening credits, Rowan Atkinson has taken an has acknowledged that Bean has a slightly alien aspect to him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And apparently, in an episode of the Mr. Bean animated series, he did go into a spaceship, and the aliens looked all like Mr. Bean. I don't think that even the aliens send him back home in a beam of light, and the music's similar to the opening of the original Mr. Bean series. Whether Bean is an extraterrestrial or not is not made clear.
Yeah.
So I think they just heard, they probably, because I forget when is the animated series was in 130 episodes. Holy buckets. Early 2000s.
Okay.
And also 2002 to 2003 on ITV, and 2004 to 2019.
Wow.
Is when it was. So I mean, I feel like they probably knew the.
So tune in next week when we first and last the animated Mr. Bean.
I mean, I'm not curious. But yeah, I'm sure that they were like, well, people think he's alien, so let's poke fun at that.
I'll work that in. Yeah.
I like all of the theories.
Yeah. So it's
I was always curious about the beam of light and how he beamed down, and
yeah, it's just an interesting layer. It doesn't really change what the show is. It's still a show about a silly guy trying to get through situations.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of being about a guy who's incredibly stupid or childlike or something, it's about a guy who just like doesn't quite understand how humans should act.
Right. He just for some reason doesn't understand like social aspects of the world, but can still function within it pretty well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he dresses nice and can drive a car. He's obviously passed like a driver's test, right?
Yeah, in the different episodes, he's trying to do some pretty impressive things. There's the one where he goes to the department store and buys a recliner, but the recliner won't fit in his car. So he
puts it on top of his car.
Yeah, he sets up the chair on top of his car and is able to drive the car from on top using like brooms and stuff. And
I'd be dead.
Ropes.
I would die. There's no way.
Yeah, that's alien technology right there.
All right, so just hire someone to bring the thing home.
Get it delivered.
Yeah, just get it delivered. But whatever. As like a first episode though, how was this?
I mean, good. I mean, it's just it's a classic first episode in that it's not a pilot in terms of like it has to explain to you this whole world. It's just like, here's what an episode's gonna be. It's this guy doing stuff.
I mean, I think the minute, like, what was it, like 2 minutes in, the minute Mr. Bean started like taking pens out of his pocket with that guy taking a test, you're like, what's this guy doing? And then you're like, okay, he's weird. He wants to like one up these people. Like, I already get like that part of his personality. And then a couple minutes goes by and he just crazy antics and he's just trying to do what he wants to do. It's very interesting. Has me hooked, I've seen it, but like would have me hooked anyway.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, I want to know what this crazy, it's just like, this is a crazy character.
What he's going to get up to.
Yeah. And then the whole show, he's not interacting like with anybody that is obvious, like another character for real in the show. Like, it's just him. And that's really what the show is. Just doing good, like, physical comedy and being hilarious. It's like the only thing that's weird, maybe, and hard to like, is like, oh, this is like maybe a sketch show, or like it's just divided into these pieces just because, like you'd have to watch one or two more to know that like part 1, part 2 and stuff like these things like are regular.
Yeah. This is gonna be the structure.
Yeah. So I mean, but that's not even a like, oh, was part 1 and part 2, like that's not gonna stop you from watching the show. Unless like for some reason you just don't like a full 25-30 minute thing that's like one thing. I mean, I can see how some people wouldn't like that, but I don't think for this it doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter at all. You love Mr. Bean, don't you, Joe?
Fucking love it. I don't know when I first saw Mr. Bean, but I was probably like real little, and like this just hit me in the right spots.
I bet like a little kid that like can, weirdly enough, I bet a little kid that like, doesn't talk very well, but like can like walk around, like and stumble around, but like kids that are like still like gaining their motor skills or whatever, but like know what TV is and stuff. Like, I bet they would watch. The kids would be enthralled with Mr.
I mean,
Bean.
the guy wears a turkey on his head. It's hilarious.
Yes,
You can't help but think that that's funny.
Ton of animated Mr. Bean like app game, like apps.
when you
Apps.
me and Joe been talking
Like
about Mr. Bean, and you've been
games. Mr.
downloading
Bean.
Mr. Bean.
Sorry,
apps.
what? Yeah, what? Sorry, what are you
Cartoon
guys?
Bean dating app.
I'm about to download like just like 100 Mr. Bean. There's like a special agent, Mr.
What
Bean game,
I don't even
Mr. Bean around the world.
want to know.
What
It's
is
weird.
This one?
It's weird.
Flying Teddy. What does that mean?
Do you have anything to add, Jimmy, about just this episode in general?
So many things. I think obviously his like physical comedy is just so impressive. He doesn't like he did talk a bunch to kind of set up that first skit,
Yeah.
but after that, like, he does not need to talk. He's so expressive that you're totally following with him the whole time. And it's just genius. It's just great. Just well crafted.
Has he been knighted? Has Rowan is
Sir
he
Rowan
Sir
Atkinson?
Rowan Atkinson?
He's got to be. I don't.
I
Probably not.
I can't imagine how he couldn't be, right?
He's too silly. They don't knight silly people.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
That's true. Like, you think all of Monty Python's been knighted?
Hard pass.
He's
I
not.
mean, it doesn't look like he
sir.
was. That's ridiculous. Queen of England, get on that.
Yeah, you can demote someone. You could take it away from like Ian McKellen or something.
I don't
What's he
think they
doing with
have
it?
to like get rid of one before they I don't know the rules.
You only have so many.
I can only have 12 knights in my service at one time, and I'm 93, so I have had a lot. So, whatever. Should we do some predictions?
Cool.
So we know that this last episode, then we had to do some research to figure it out, because the way like Amazon and Hulu and kind of everybody else, it was like this 14 episodes of like regular episodes of like 25, 30-minute episodes. And then there's one left. The Hulu, if you guys are like following along with this, Hulu has like a 14-minute episode that just seems like it's two parts, and it's like, hey, these are just two sketches. Is kind of what it seems like.
Kind of like deleted scenes or something.
And then there's this other thing called the best bits of Bean, which is like almost an hour long. And so we're gonna watch that because it seems like it's part clip show, but then part Bean being around. He's like in his attic doing something, and then I think he remembers stuff. So that's kind of what we know, at least going into it. Generally, we don't know much or anything about the finale, but we did do research to figure out what the hell was going on. So we found it. We're going to watch the best bits of Bean as if that was episode 15, because that's what IMDb says. And that's king when
and
it
they
comes.
usually have the good, like, the right air dates and stuff.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that one. So we know there's a bit of a clippy thing going on. I'm gonna be fine with it because I know all the clips are gonna be funny.
It's gonna be good.
I can't wait.
And with that, these are my predictions. So I did 3 of just kind of random things I think Bean is doing, and then my last one is kind of like a story related one.
Okay.
So number 1, I think there's a mannequin part involved.
A mannequin part.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like Mr. Bean interacting with a mannequin would be hilarious, and so I mostly just want to see him do it. I also kind of like, I don't know if it's gonna be a whole mannequin or he just like finds a hand,
Like an
arm. Yeah. So
Okay.
something like that.
Keep an eye out.
I think Mr. Bean accidentally starts a fire.
Okay.
Nice.
I could see that too.
Yep. And then I think he just he eats food that he happens upon.
Okay.
Like he
Like he walks by an open garbage can and there's like a perfectly good half a sandwich resting on top, so he grabs it.
Yeah, like George when he eats the Eau Claire in the garbage that one. He just like finds food and eats it.
Okay.
And then my last one, story related, is I think he is like packing because he's moving. So I think
packing up.
I think that's why he's like packing up. I think we get the air of like Mr. Bean's preparing for a move.
Okay.
So that's what I kind of think is the storyline.
Cool. Wanna go, Joe?
Yeah. I think that, outside of the end credits, I think within like this episode, I think he gets beamed up like to a spaceship or something.
Oh, okay.
Beaned?
Bean gets beamed up.
Okay. Beamed? Bees?
Full on beamed up. And then my next two predictions are to do with, I think, some of the clips that are going to be in this. I think they're going to do the one where he meets the queen.
Oh.
And I think they're going to do the one where he watches TV.
Okay.
Wait, I don't even know that. I don't even know that one.
That's a real bit.
That's why he's like
It's
trying
a
to watch
sketch.
TV, but like the TV keeps turning to static whenever he sits in front of it.
Okay.
I can see
It's
it.
gonna be funny.
Yeah. Those are a little bit cheap because I know that those are bits in the show, but like, maybe 50-50.
Does that mean you think like? Do you think those are your like favorite bits or something? Is that why you picked them? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think those are core bits.
Okay.
I feel like when you watch Mr. Bean, if you've seen any of it before and you watch like an episode, you're like, this part, yeah, like it's one of these shows.
I think for my last prediction, I think we can reasonably deduce that Mr. Bean has committed murder. Like maybe not.
Wow.
It's not going to be quite as clear as like Mr. Bean stabs someone, but I think we're going to see a clip and think, did that guy die? Was Mr. Bean responsible for that guy's death?
Right. I'm gonna like pay attention to like the
okay.
background and like see if I see clues.
Yeah.
I'm into it. I like this. We got a good old murder mystery.
That's awesome. Okay, so I also have started with Bean is beamed back up.
Beamed.
Beamed. What did you say?
Beamed.
Then I think Bean says no words outside of like the clips because we know that there's a clip that he talks in.
We know he said words in the past.
We know he has said words, so he's probably going to say some words. But
outside
like this freshly recorded material,
No words.
no words.
What if he's speaking perfect English? He's like, "Hello, I'm Mr. Bean.
Let's
Let's look through my journeys."
I'll be so upset.
You've been with me for 14 episodes. Let's have one more, hey?
I think we're gonna see Bean actually finally like meeting in real life the blue like 3-wheeled car driver.
Oh.
I was curious. I almost had a thing. I was like, are we ever gonna know who drives that car?
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't think that's an important part, and I don't think they would ever go there.
Yeah, I think the car is the character.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
the character.
yeah.
I think it would be a great bit to see him like where he like really gets along with someone, and then they're like walking out to the parking lot,
Oh no.
and then they like
Oh,
walk to each other's cars that park next to each other, and then realize like A, Bean probably like hit his car on the way in, and B, like that they're meeting their arch enemies. Okay,
I bet it's Mr. Sprout.
I want to see it.
Wow.
That would be
It's Irma
less cool.
It might be Irma.
Gob.
And then my fourth one is that I think I want to see the drum sketch. So there's a sketch that I've only seen live,
I think he's only
a
done
live version of, that I hope he does some version of in this show, and there's a clip of it.
He does some music thing in Bean at some point, but I
Yeah.
don't know if that's a movie or in the show.
He does a few music things.
Yeah, okay. So it's
There's
possible.
the bit that I'm talking about is where he's like sweeping with like an invisible broom, and then he like hits some like invisible drumsticks, and you hear it, and then he like sits down, and then a whole thing ensues of him basically playing an invisible drum set solo.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible.
I've seen
It's
it.
one of my favorite things ever.
It's good.
What do we watch just after this? Just of all of his like live Mr. Bean.
We only have so much time, Jimmy.
Staged.
We only have so much time. Are those the ones?
That's it.
Those are it. Sweet. Let's watch this last episode, the best bits of Bean, and we'll be back after that. And we're back. We're done with the final-ish episode of Mr. Bean.
We
That's
did it.
his name.
The
It's
best
Mr.
bits of Bean. Bean bits.
Bean bits.
Come and get them.
Is there a write-up for this thing?
Basically, Mr. Bean and Teddy venture into the attic to look for an umbrella because it's raining outside. And in the midst of doing that, he runs into items that remind him of flashbacks.
That's pretty much it.
Good times and bad.
Yeah, I mean the actual So
He encounters things, and then we go back and see the bit, see the skit about it.
and then right when he finds the umbrella, he's like, "Now we can go," and then it stops raining.
Yeah,
and it's like nice out. Classic Mr. Bean fashion. He goes through all this work to do a thing, and then in the end, it doesn't matter.
yeah. It was a fun clip show.
Such is
if you're
life.
gonna do a clip show.
And then I think the sketches that we saw, like through his remembrance, I think were the dentist one when his car gets crushed by a tank.
Turkey.
When he gets the Christmas turkey on his head, when he has to drive home in his car with the chair on top and him on the chair. When he's like in the swimming pool, tries to jump off the high dive,
yeah.
and
Scared.
does not correctly, at least. And then when he meets the queen, say that one already.
Yeah,
I think those were all the ones we saw.
Those were his best bits.
Those were his.
Oh,
best.
and like there's one where he's going on a trip and he's trying to pack a suitcase.
Suitcase.
that was excellent.
Yeah.
There was one while we were watching it that I remember that I told you, Joe, that I didn't know if it was the movie or the episode, but it sounded like you said it was a Christmas episode, maybe.
Yeah, that same Christmas episode with the turkey.
Okay.
While he's shopping, he sees a nativity scene and like plays with the little elements in it.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
He like gets a helicopter involved.
That's wonderful.
And he makes all like the noises, like, and they're talking to each other. So him recreating the nativity, one of the best pieces of, and we didn't see it. No, we haven't seen that yet, but it's so good. Last episode quality.
I mean, it's a clip show.
Yeah, it's a clip show.
For us,
so
it's
yes.
For us, it's fine because it's like they're longer clips. Like it's essentially they just took,
that
six
scene.
Yeah, like 6 of the best like halves of episodes and just put them into one giant episode.
Yeah. So it wasn't even like we needed context for anything. It was great.
And like it wasn't so
Best
short
bits.
like that. You're like, wait, what was that?
Yeah.
Like it's the entire sequence.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out. I'm not gonna like go and figure out when this was, but like, Mr. Bean was like kind of so infrequent.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Like there was 3 episodes in 1990, 1 in 1991, like 3 in 1992, 1 in 93, 3 in 94, and then technically 4 in 95, including this last clip show. So 4 in that.
Yeah.
So just like being so far and few between, because there's only 14 full episodes in this like end clip show.
Yeah.
Having like a bunch of big clips in this one probably wasn't that bad, because you'd be like, oh man, that dentist, he did that at like 92.
Yeah. Remember that
was a
several
good
years
clip.
ago?
And, so with that, and then not having it be like, you'd have to watch it on TV.
Yeah.
Like if you missed this, you probably missed one of those episodes during Mr. Bean time.
I don't think I've ever seen the one where his car gets crushed.
I've seen it. I think. I knew his car gets crushed by a tank at some point.
That one, we didn't get very much context. That was like one of the few ones where like he just like parks his car and there's a lot of people in the background and he's trying to buy some sort of baked good, and then his car gets crushed, and that's basically the end of that.
It's so sad.
Yeah,
Just run over by a tank. It's like Monster Jam.
The mini
Bean Jam.
Bean Jam.
He packed baked beans in that one scene.
He tried to bring 6 cans of baked beans.
Yeah. Which at that point I thought to myself, like, not a bad idea to like pack lunch with you on vacation, because then you save a little money and you save a little time. You could just focus on doing vacation stuff.
I mean, don't a lot of people bring like a sandwich over the plane, depending on how long it's going to be or something?
I don't know.
Some people.
I
do
never
that.
thought to do that, but not a bad idea.
I've totally done that before.
Cool.
Just pack your meals.
Yeah, why not? Even the little bit of just him in the attic at least was a little fun. Every time.
Yeah.
That was fun.
You got some extra New Bean silliness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was like probably like 7 minutes of New Bean, but
there's a little bit where Teddy was afraid of the spider in the attic and leapt from Mr. Bean's arms. Teddy's just a teddy bear, by the way. That Joe, if you're gonna make arguments about him not being a man child,
that kind of crushes it.
He's got a teddy bear, which he did not have in the pilot. But anyway, Teddy goes flying down out of the attic, like through the hole, up through the attic, and then Bean finds a vacuum and lowers it down, and then he gets sucked into somehow the entirety of the bear gets sucked into the machine, and he opens it and out comes Teddy.
I thought it was going to be
fun.
funny, and the bear was just going to be stuck to the outside of the vacuum when it came
Which
up.
would already be funny.
It would have already been funny, but it didn't.
Took it the next step.
And I was, where's the bear?
I'm a little confused at like where this attic is. Like, doesn't he live in an apartment?
Yeah, like a small apartment too.
Mhm.
Maybe there's a crawl space in the hallway.
Like just a common attic?
I don't know. He did have to climb up there using a grappling hook. So maybe he's not supposed to be. Also,
maybe you got to watch the rest of the show to find out.
He had to climb up there using a grappling hook. He had the remains of his crushed car in there.
That is true. He put a car in there.
He put a car up there.
Which probably could not have fit through the hole
That man-sized
he crawled
hole.
up into. Yeah. Like there were full tires in there.
He pulled it up using the vacuum.
Yeah.
But I mean,
strong vacuum.
Mr. Bean does like to do things the hard way. So we've seen that time and time again tonight.
He works hard and he plays hard.
He works hard because he does it wrong. He plays hard because he also does that wrong, I think. So there. Who's watching Mr. Bean?
I mean, it's pretty amazing, and there's only 14 episodes. So.
I'm going to read the Wikipedia and see which ones I haven't seen, and then watch those.
Fair enough. I think when you guys leave, or maybe while we're cleaning up from the podcast, I'm putting the nativity scene on so we can watch it. Because that one's so good. So I'll probably pop in some Bean now, like in the next week or so.
It's good. It's good stuff.
Got some time? Play some Bean. Well, 15 episodes means we only got 13 left anyway.
It's true.
I'm going to watch only the Zazu scenes from The Lion King and be like, that's Mr. Bean?
I bet on YouTube there's probably like a Zazu cut because someone did it, right? I'm betting.
Rowan Atkinson did it.
He cut it himself.
He's made his Rowan Atkinson cut.
Yeah, maybe he did.
For his reel, he's got to take it to auditions. Hey, remember me, guys? Remember Zazu?
I can talk. See?
Also, we
talk real good.
We never talked about quick that Mr. Bean's one of those people that wears the same thing over every single day.
Yeah, his character.
I was thinking about that today. It'd be great if I just had like 4 outfits I felt really good about.
They not even 4 outfits. It's called something. It's called the something closet. When you only have multiple items, but it's all like the same one. Of the one, like all black shirts, all jeans.
Yeah,
that's called something.
All black.
I think it's called a something
black.
closet. But
I've tried to simplify a little bit. There's a lot more black t-shirts.
Closet?
Yeah,
and Einstein do that, and he supposedly said that
it's just one less
clear
decision.
Mental, open some mental space.
Yeah,
not have to worry about it.
That sounds great.
It does sound nice.
Because then you have less clothes and stuff to keep track of too.
Yeah. Okay, so have you guys ever heard of the show One Foot in the Grave?
No.
I got really excited when the dentist scene rolled up because Richard Wilson is the dentist, and he's like also famous British comedian in his own right, and was in a show that when I was a kid I was obsessed with as like a child. This is a show in the 90s about like 2 retired old British couple, and I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I was probably the only child watching this old people British show.
And it's called One Foot in the Grave.
1 Foot in the Grave, yeah. And his character is the like retired man, and he just has like terrible luck is like his thing basically. It's just it's kind of dark. It's just horrible things happen to him all the time, and it's amazing. I loved it. And I forgot about it until watching that clip. Brought me back.
Yeah, I never knew that dentist was in anything else.
Yeah.
I assumed he was a real dentist.
Yeah, he might be. I don't know. Do a deep dive.
You got this outfit figured out?
no, I couldn't figure it out.
Did you search the Einstein closet?
I did, and I didn't get that.
Damn.
But information overload can lead to design fatigue, so they take away
fatigue.
Sorry, can lead to decision fatigue.
Mhm.
Okay,
Some
that makes more sense.
and some famous figures have chosen to wear the same thing, so they don't get an influx of too much information of useless information.
many clothes I can't decide things.
Mhm.
Hey man, it's a little bit of energy you expense every single day trying to figure out what you want to wear.
Yeah, sure.
And if you can just take it out, then you're never wasting it.
Sure.
If for some reason you think that you just don't have a square to spare, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think part of what I'd like to do too is like, if I had nicer stuff, then I could just have a few of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I just had like a nice sweater, like, and I just had one nice sweater that I wore like twice a week.
When you were chilly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then I could have nice clothes and still have it be affordable, and also reduce my decisions.
You're killing so many birds with this rock.
I think the thing about
Annihilating
like,
birds.
Joe's goal to annihilate birds.
we got a room full of dead birds in the studio today. All right.
So
Yeah, let's watch some Bean.
So he doesn't want to.
Let's wrap this up.
All in all, Mr. Bean doesn't want to deal with decision fatigue. That's why.
That's why he does it.
Also, listeners, if you made it this far into the episode, I'd like to correct Joe from the beginning of the episode that trigonometry is 5 syllables and not 4. I know it was all burning in everyone's minds.
I did count it out after I said it, and I was like, I hope no one notices.
I'm one of the listeners.
You know, everyone stopped and went trigonometry.
You know what's funny is I think you said it, and I went triga, and I went I don't care, and I stopped. Like I literally.
So tweet at us. Which listener were you? Did you stop counting? Or
Were you Joe?
Pissed until now?
Were you Joe and you knew you made a mistake, but you tried to cover it up?
Yeah.
Were you Jimmy? Where
We
you were
should-
just waiting to throw it in the face of
believe
your
I
friend?
remembered to say
Before this
something.
episode airs, we should tweet out a Twitter poll that says how many syllables are in trigonometry: 4, 5, or I don't care.
Love it. Love it.
Okay. You remember that. No, you got to remember that. Cool. Well, let's predict.
Oh yeah.
So,
Let's resolve our predictions.
I had Bean gets beamed up, and he did not.
Mm-mm.
He didn't even get like normal beamed up, like
No.
in the credit sequence.
You mean beam down?
Yeah.
or whatever.
Did he get beamed down?
He
No,
got
he didn't get
nothing.
beamed down either. Huh.
I don't
Interesting.
think so.
I think it did. I think the opening was the same, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think it was.
Can't remember. It was 52 minutes ago.
I had they do the sequence where Bean meets the Queen, and that was in, so that's a point.
Did it?
Yeah.
The sequence where Bean watches TV, that was not in it. And then Bean reasonably murders.
None.
Yeah, let's go with no.
You're trying to go with for a minute. You're trying to argue that maybe the dentist was dead.
Or maybe the Queen. He ends up headbutting the
He
Queen.
headbutts the I mean, you should be arrested.
I think that would be the end of Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Murder the Queen
That's
in
why
front of
he's-
a room full of people.
That's why he's hiding out in this attic now. That's where he
He did
lives.
slink away pretty quickly, though.
Yeah. 1 point.
terrible,
Nice.
terrible Secret Service for the Queen.
Nice.
My first one was there's a mannequin part involved.
It was not explained, but there was a mannequin leg in one of the like
In his like
dressers
trunk.
that he pulled
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
Not explained whatsoever.
1 point. Mr. Bean starts a fire. No, he
Yeah.
did not. He eats food he happens to find. Didn't do that.
In the sequence where his car gets crushed, he happens upon a table of baked goods. I mean, granted they were being sold, it wasn't strange food.
That's not what I meant.
Okay.
He paid for it.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
like
Yeah, I meant
not his.
if he would have found like one of those baked goods like lying on a stone like
Mhm.
outside, and he would have just eaten it, and
Yeah.
then his car like I would have been like that. But
Okay.
that was a booth that was
Sure.
there.
Yeah.
He didn't like
Mm.
happen upon it. It would have been great. Alas, he did not. And then the reason for him being in the attic and whatnot was that I thought Mr. Bean would be moving. He was just looking for an umbrella
Yeah,
apparently.
just wanted to go outside.
Yeah.
So that was it. But I will take my 1 point. I will take it hard.
Yeah, you will. I also had beamed up back into his spaceship. Nothing there. I thought that Bean would say no words, and he said a bunch of words because he said stuff to Teddy, and I totally forgot that Teddy was a thing at all.
I would have it'd be very interesting in the show that if Mr. Bean talked, but when he only talked to Teddy.
To Teddy.
That could be very interesting.
That'd be fun. I like that. He did not meet the blue three-wheel car driver, and there was no drum sketch.
Oh, we did. The other one was him trying to get out of the car port or the car parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's when he
that was a really good one.
Tricked the blue guy, opened it, and he drove
he
away.
Revved at it, play some chicken,
and that poor blue car tipped over again. Good stuff. It's like the equivalent of like Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown and him like falling on the ground. It's like every time you see the blue car, it's just on its side somehow.
It gets tipped over somehow.
In the end, poor blue car.
Don't have a 3-wheeled car.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is on the driver and owner of that blue car.
That's what happens when you drive a duck boat as your main vehicle.
That's what happens when you make terrible purchases.
Yeah,
it's true.
They tip over. All right. Well, I'll take my point, and let's stop recording now so we can watch.
Oh, okay.
This nativity scene.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Sweet. If you guys want to, listeners, you guys want to hit us up at F&L Podcast on the Gmail, on the Twitters. Tell us stuff. Give us compliments and maybe show suggestions. That'd be great.
Or just insults.
just nice to hear something.
Yeah, whatever.
We know there's some trolls listening to
Just
this right now.
Just communicate. We just want to
know
know
who you are.
We just want to know that other people are alive out there.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's fair.
That's all we need. All right. Well, we'll see you next week for another episode of First and Last. Thanks for listening. I'm signing out. Goodbye.